All right, well, continuing with that story, of course, the rugby fraternity is still coming to terms with the news that the Springbok captain, Siya Kolisi, will be joining Racing 92 in France at the end of the World Cup. The 31-year-old has played most of his professional rugby in South Africa, but he cited that family time is one of the reasons for the move in the Northern Hemisphere. And joining me to speak on the story is independent media senior rugby writer Mike Greenaway. Good evening, Mr. Greenaway. Great to have you on eNCA. What do you make of Siya Kolisi's decision to join Racing 92 after the France 2023 Rugby World Cup?
Look, anything that makes the Springbok rugby captain happy has got to be good news for South Africa. Siya is obviously a massive part of the Springbok team. He's decided that what is going to make him a happy man is to spend time with his family as a unit in France. The Sharks will have kind of mixed emotions. Siya's playing really good rugby. He's a vital part of the Sharks as well. He's recently become the captain. He was man of the match last week against the Bulls. So they'll have mixed emotions, and that they don't want to see such a good player go. But they also understand that he's put in a lot of effort at the Sharks. He's started player welfare systems at the Sharks, the My Player First program, which is about holistic development of players, making sure they look after themselves after rugby. He's made a big impact at the Shark Tank, and he's been there 2 years now. And they understand that if a player wants to move on, it's best not to keep him against his will. So they'll bid him farewell with a smile on their faces. There's also something else that I think should be, let's be frank about this. There's also financial issues involved. I haven't had this confirmed from the Sharks, but you can be certain that Racing 92 have paid the Sharks quite a handsome transfer fee for him to be released 2.5 years early in his contract. And as much as they don't want to see Siya go because he's such a good player, he is a very top earner as well. So in these trying times, they'll probably be saving quite a lot of cash there. So all in all, I don't think it's an unhappy departure. I think the Sharks have given him their blessing, and they really mean that. Kolisi in return, I mean, if you've seen the way he's played in the last couple of weeks, and the knowledge that the Sharks are letting him go, because this has been kind of on the cards for quite a while now, and he's really playing with so much enthusiasm. I mean, he's been almost a different player. And I think another very important thing to bear in mind is how this deal has been structured. Siya's not leaving immediately. He's leaving after the World Cup in September. So the Sharks still have his very happy and enthusiastic services for the rest of the URC. And the URC is getting towards kind of the business end. And he will also lead the Sharks in the Heineken Cup, which is like the elite tournament in world rugby, just below international level.
Mike, let me just interject there. Happy to hear those remarks. But, I mean, apart from joining Stephen Kitsoff and Trevor Nyakane, what else motivates Siya to pack up and leave, especially after a short stint with the Sharks, after joining from the Stormers? It's interesting that you say that the Sharks, well, maybe you don't have it yet on paper or on good record yet, but they're experiencing financial problems. Did I hear you say that correctly?
I wouldn't say financial problems. I would just say that a flip side to using a great player like that is that you save a lot of cash as well.
But then Rock Nations is also in KZN, Mike. Rock Nations, the talent agency, has made it very clear that they'd like to take care of most of the Sharks players. So it's also quite just interesting to hear that, you know, letting Siya Kolisi go after the Rugby World Cup is something that has been on the cards for a while now, especially because they're a well-respected talent agency who have got the financial muscle to keep players at the Shark Tank.
Look, I think the most important thing here is it's not really about money. So let's not try and go down that route too much. I was just saying that a cushioning of the blow is that they'll save cash. The most important reason that Siya is going is that his family has remained in Cape Town, his wife and his kids. Siya's in Durban. He does a heck of a lot of traveling as well with the Springboks. So I think his motivation is that after the World Cup, if he can go to a different part of the world where he's out of the heavy South African spotlight and he can be with his family as a unit. I mean, he's been a professional rugby player for over a decade. And I think he's got young children. I think this is the primary motivation for him, is to spend quality time with his family in a different part of the world where they are a contained unit and not in different cities.
All right, what else is motivating for him and the objective for him to remain in France for the 2 years? It also seems like most South African players who go overseas, in particular to France, would probably spend 3 or 4 to 5 years in France and come back to South Africa. Is this a reflection of the state of South African rugby, would you say, Mike?
Well, not really a state of South African rugby, more a state of the South African rand. These guys are professionals. You can't hold it against them to want to earn as much money as they can. Obviously, they've got to balance a lot of things, but at the end of the day, this is what they do for a living. So if post the World Cup, Siya can play out his career. He's currently 31. He'll be 32ish fairly soon, I think. So he's got only a couple of years left in him. And let's also remember that this guy's put in a heck of a lot of effort as Springbok captain. I'm reliably informed, and I hope I'm not held to this, but I'm pretty sure he's going to retire after the World Cup from international rugby. So it makes a lot of sense from him on a number of grounds. He'll be finishing with the Boks. He can go to France. He's under the radar now. He's not the Springbok captain anymore. He's with his family. He can make some good money and see out his career in a fairly relaxed way.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike. I hope we had more time to speak about this, but thanks just for giving us your insights. That was independent media senior rugby writer Mike Greenaway on the news that Siya Kolisi will be joining Racing 92 after the Rugby World Cup in France.